Let's get into it. 1, 2, 3. Let's get some more. Have it in. Get some more. Let's get some more.
Hey, well, hello, and welcome to My Whiskey Den, your favorite public access whiskey review show where craft whiskey is king. Today we have a wonderful guest with us, Matt Hiel from Wiscocktail Lounge in Baraboo, Wisconsin. I got a chance to stop out here, and some of us know you from when you worked at Wollersheim, so I was going to say you have a bit of a following here from the past. Mitch, I'm glad to see you made it on. Thanks for hopping on. I know you're having some lovely technical issues, as we all have from time to time. But before I go any further, I'm going to go through some Bar Cart Co-op stuff just so that we get that out of the way for everything. We are a proud part of the Bar Cart Co-op, which is a group of friends that do shows for the whiskey and whiskey adjacent. Starting first is the oldest of them is Distillers Talk with Alan Bishop and Christy Atkinson. They focus on some of the really in-depth, more little bit deeper questions than we delve into with some of the things on our show, but they've been doing stuff for years, and they're an interesting talk if you haven't heard any of the stuff they're doing. Now, Alan also has One Piece at a Time, that took a while to switch, One Piece at a Time Distilling Institute, where if you have questions, he will answer them for you. Just send them over on his YouTube or TikTok, and he will answer the questions that you have posed to him, which it doesn't always happen, and he will give the honest answer, whether you kind of like that or not sometimes. He also has his last show, If You Have Ghosts, You Have Everything, where he focuses on spirits, but more of the extra worldly spirits that kind of filter into everything, kind of give it a little more range of what he's focused on. So it's a unique show where they kind of delve into more of the spirit side of things, not only with just whiskey and spirits and distilleries, but in general. And then we have Mr. Kevin Rose with Bourbon Turntable, where they blend the love of music with the love of whiskey. And he has been on fire with shows lately, so make sure you stop over there and check those out. And last but not least is Whisk My Ring podcast with David Levine, where he does the things we don't do. Like, he has really detailed lists of all the things he's reviewed, and he does really excellent layouts with those, and does some of the reviews that we kind of don't delve into, actually, like your bigger brands. So he kind of handles that side of things. Okay, so got that all out of the way. So thank you, Matt, for being here. Mitch, thank you for being here. Really appreciate you being here and taking a chance to sit down and talk with us. Now, like we said before, Matt, you used to work at Wollersheim before you ended up moving over into this venture.
Yep.
How did this all come to fruition? What stole you away from there to make you start this new venture?
Yeah, well, I had worked for Wollersheim for just under 9 years. I started a month or two after the distillery opened. It opened in August of 2015, and I started in November of 2015. And prior to that, I liked cocktails, but didn't necessarily know a ton about them. But during my time there, I kind of fell in love, got to be the bar manager there, creating all the drinks, teaching everyone how to make them. For a time as well, I worked as the brand ambassador there, so I got to travel to different bars around the state, talk up Wollersheim products, got to try a bunch of stuff along the way, which is a nice perk. Having an expense account is pretty cool. And then over the years, I've been talking with, so this new venture is called Wiscocktail Lounge. We opened at the end of March 28th. So we just turned 6 months old here just last week. And that kind of came about from actually talking with my barber. my barber is now my business partner, a guy named Jimmy Kimball here in Baraboo, and he owned this building that we're in right now. Now,
Okay.
prior to this, the building was a tattoo parlor that was in fairly rough shape. Yeah, this picture, it looked, if you can imagine, the exact opposite. It took some pretty heavy demo. It took about 9 months to build out. But he had approached me about, oh, wouldn't it be cool to open a cocktail bar in Baraboo? And I'm like, well, I mean, if you have the space, I would love to. And he did. So we got to talking about it over a few months, and I had already kind of had plans from daydreaming where along the ways when I would be doing the brand ambassador work, I'd go to various bars across the state and be like, oh, XYZ bar in, for example, some big influence of ours are Bryant's and At Random in Milwaukee. I'm like, oh, we should steal this from this place and steal this from this place. Very few original thoughts. A lot of stuff is just taking our favorite parts from various bars around the state and turning it into here. So there's 4 partners all together. Myself, Jimmy, who owns the building and did a great deal of the build out. He's the guy next to me in like the kind of denim shirt. The guy next to him in the green shirt with the sunglasses, his name is Brian, and he is kind of the master of the build out process. I have no skill or inclination at all for building of things aside from maybe building cocktails. So the 2 guys in the middle did all of that. And our 4th partner is Mike Soul there on my left. So yeah, 4 of us all together. That's us at the Musky Lounge, which is one of our favorite places in Madison. Another place that we took some influences from. So yeah, 4 of us, opened at the end of March. I would never have left Wollersheim if it wasn't for the chance to have a stake in a business. And in this case, I do, and it's been going really well so far. I knew it would be a lot of work, but it's exponentially more than I thought it would be. But but when you love it, it's cool. It's fine being tired or sore or whatever when you love what you do.
It is, and I really enjoy what you guys did. Like you said, you took something that, and we've all seen a tattoo parlor. So I was gonna say, usually they're not in the best upkeep of what it is in general. It's not like there's this nice, really super nice one you go into.
Yes.
So I love what you did. Like you said, it was kind of like an homage to Wisconsin. Like you said, you took parts from different places you saw that you liked and kind of put them together, and it has a little bit of like presence to an old Wisconsin kind of supper club feel on the inside.
Absolutely.
One of the things, and I'll show a couple pictures, but I really liked is just a couple of the booths you have. Now,
Yeah.
a little bit higher end booth than in some of the older supper clubs, but
Sure, yeah.
But also really similar to old ones. You know, newer booths are a little bit older, but if you go back in time, this is a little more standard what you'd see in a nicer restaurant or place. And I really like the way that looked. I'm going to throw a couple more up here just because give people an idea of it. Give me a second here. And you flip around. And I like the gray and the black. I was going to say I was going to say around here would think kind of that brown, like you said, the Musky Lounge, kind of that old plywood board stuff.
Sure,
You
yeah.
saw
like
it a lot of
older
things.
wood and stuff.
But this is, like you said, it's a nicer kind of higher end redone view of it.
Yeah.
And let's see here. You guys also was in between. Sorry, I had to come here. Just you had a lazy men's, but in between there, you have pictures to what you were saying. Like, can you explain a little bit of what this wall is between the two bathrooms that I really liked?
Yeah. So part of our kind of mission, I guess we call it, is we call our bar a love letter to Wisconsin taverns. So we're trying to kind of celebrate the things that make drinking in Wisconsin different than anywhere else in the world. So this picture wall idea actually comes from, speaking of things being stolen, there's a place in Madison called not the Musky Lounge, Settle Down Tavern. And they've got a whole wall of photos somewhat like this. However, for them, it's friends and family and pictures of the owners as kids. But we decided to go another route. Part of our tagline, a love letter to Wisconsin taverns. So this is either some iconic or famous historic bars or taverns in Wisconsin, or just ones that hold kind of personal affection in the hearts of some of our owners. So, for example, dead center in the middle there was one called the Joint, and that's where I kind of cut my teeth drinking in college, and learned a whole lot more about after I left Eau Claire. So the place was like it's kind of a hole in the wall. I wouldn't call it divey, just kind of like a towny bar. But all along the walls, somewhat similar to what you're seeing here, there's pictures of famous musicians that had played there. So in like the 50s and 60s, a lot of musicians would stop in Eau Claire when they were going between, say, Milwaukee and Minneapolis and perform on the stage that they used to have in the back of that bar. So there's signed pictures of B.B. King, of like Marvin Gaye, of like famous jazz, R&B, and blues acts. I knew nothing about it. I was just there drinking pitchers of Grain Belt Premium Lager. Was the go-to. I grew up in Minneapolis, and that was a big one in Eau Claire. So I was just drinking my body weight in Grain Belt. I didn't learn about the cool history of the bar until well afterwards. So there's that one and a whole variety of others. And again, we're trying to kind of celebrate the really cool, rich, unique drinking history in Wisconsin, because it's different than anywhere else in America or in the world for that part.
It is. And now we did have a couple cocktails, and I made one of them, or at least I have one of them ready at this moment. So I'm going to put them both up that we did, because if you didn't, I put them out there. But here's a chance to see them again. The first one I started with was the Black Squirrel. How did you come up with this one? Because I really dig how tasty it has just a nice little bit of spice in there from the black walnut bitters. I'm really enjoying this one. Yeah,
so this one actually is not an original of mine. So another thing we like to do, not only is the design really based upon bars in Wisconsin that we love, but two other parts to that are we use Wisconsin spirits as much as possible. Mm-hmm. And lastly, we like to use, when possible, we like to incorporate cocktails from other bars in Wisconsin. So this one is by a guy named Brian Bartels, who's originally from Reedsburg, not too far from where we are in Baraboo. And he owns several bars now in the Madison area, including the Settle Down Tavern that I mentioned previously. He owns one called Oz by Oz, or Ounce by Ounce, depending on how you want to say it, and one called Turnkey Supper Club, all in Madison.
Yeah.
So he was out in New York for a number of years and opened, I don't even know, let's say a dozen restaurant cocktail bars, moved back to Madison probably just before the pandemic. And he's published several cocktail books, including an awesome one called The Bloody Mary Book. And it's got, 50 different Bloody Mary recipes. And then he's got a newer one called The United States of Cocktails, where he either showed recipes for drinks that are unique to certain states or from bartenders who reside in certain states. And this is one of his most famous drinks. I'm drinking one right now. Look at the camera. This is the Black Squirrel. So we use the Wollersheim 2 Mile bourbon. Obviously, I'm kind of partial to them since I worked there forever. But I just like the real richness. The black walnut bitters give it a nice kind of, I don't know, this drink kind of screams fall. It's kind of warming and rich and still spirit forward. So we reached out to Brian in the late summer to see if it'd be okay if we put this on our menu. And he's like, yeah, absolutely. That sounds great. So yeah, definitely a favorite of mine. And that's the one I've been sipping on here so far.
I would be too. I always love that little bit of fruit in a lot of my drinks, and the cherry in there is just enough. And then like the black walnut bitters plays with that so well.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
What?
This is fantastic. Sorry.
Oh no, you're good. Sorry. In the chat, they're saying the cherry herring and vodka is a Red Russian.
Oh, I thought I knew every cocktail. I guess it makes sense. A White Russian and Black Russian, Red Russian, I guess it's cherry herring. There you go.
I've never heard of it, but you know what? I'll have to give it a try at some point. That's okay.
Learn something new every day.
Exactly. Now, like you said, you guys were doing a bunch of different things with cocktails and aiming in a direction. So what you guys do in some months is you'll have like a theme to a month. And I have one or two pictures where you might have 3 or 4 like themed cocktails throughout the month, which I like because that pulls people in and well, I've seen 1 or 2 other places do it. It gives like a voting thing, or you've done it in a couple of them where it's come in, try stuff, you kind of can vote which one you had or like that was kind of the best.
Yeah.
There's one hidden in here. This green drink in the middle. I saw you guys were playing with absinthe. Now, not many
Yes.
people do. What led you to play with that? Because we have some distiller friends that absolutely love it and enjoy making it, and I'm just interested how you got there and your thoughts on. I don't think it's as overbearing as was with the Green Fairy and it being
Sure.
as abusive as maybe it was once thought as it was.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on using it? What was that one green cocktail you had, if you remember? Sorry, I
Yeah,
kind of
so
pulled
that
that
was
from nowhere. Sorry.
Oh, no worries. That was from our like opening menu that we had from the such a spring menu, and that was like a kind of a fancy variation on a grasshopper, believe it or not.
I'll bring it
So
back up.
that was so I'm a big fan of absinthe as well for a number of reasons. One was they used to produce, actually I think they still do now, or have restarted producing one at Wollersheim. So I loved using it there, and a drink that I really loved for maybe a year or two that I had consistently is a drink called a Stinger, which is just kind of a boozy stirred drink with some sweetness to it, which is normally 2 parts cognac or some other brandy, 1 part of white creme de menthe. And I've seen multiple recipes that will use like an absinthe mist, like a little spray of absinthe in there, more so for aromatic qualities than anything else. But I really like the idea of combining the kind of cooling menthol aspect of absinthe with mint. So in that case, that was our grasshopper. So it wasn't an ice cream drink like a lot of people anticipated, but still loved it nonetheless. So that used the kind of neon green creme de menthe. It also used the name's escaping me. Wondermint, which is like a mint schnapps made by our friends at Dancing Goat Distillery.
Yep.
It had a little bit of brandy in there. We had a little bit of white creme de cacao. And then we just floated the cream over the top instead of like blending it with ice cream. So you'd shake some heavy cream until it got kind of frothy and then pour it over the back of a bar spoon over the top of the drink to get that layered effect. And I really like that, particularly in drinks like, my main thought of it is like in Irish coffee. So you got like this cold, sweet layer on the top, and then you get to the warmer taste at the bottom. It's like a cool variation in taste sensations. Similar idea here. You went from that kind of rich, cool, creamy character into the kind of minty, slightly boozy. Ours is a little boozier than you would expect from like a supper club thing. Because that absinthe packs a punch. There wasn't a lot in it, but it definitely it spoke. It came through.
There's sometimes that's kind of hidden in there. You're like, ooh, I didn't realize how proofy that was.
Yes. And I'm a big fan of drinks like the whole New Orleans kind of drinking culture. And they use absinthe in a lot of my favorite drinks from down there. So I try to sneak it in as often as possible.
Oh.
So
Go ahead.
I hate to pull you back, but you said it was a riff on a grasshopper, and I have no idea what a grasshopper is other than a bug.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry.
Could you go into that?
I forgot you're not from Wisconsin.
I am not. I'm sorry.
So it's different depending on where you are, but it was really big in like the 40s through the 60s. So what you would see outside of Wisconsin is probably something a little more similar to what was in that picture. So it'd be creme de menthe or like a mint liqueur, creme de cacao or a chocolate liqueur. And outside of Wisconsin, it would be made with heavy cream. So you'd shake all those together and pour them into like a stemmed glass, like a coupe glass. And it'd be like an after dinner kind of drink. Where in Wisconsin, we put ice cream into everything. So there's a whole...
Ice cream makes everything better. You're right.
Yeah,
You're right.
Oh, yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, I won't turn down an ice cream drink. So particularly at supper clubs, they would have ice cream drinks like the Grasshopper or the Brandy Alexander or the Pink Squirrel, where instead of heavy cream, they would use ice cream and they would blend it. And usually it's served in like a little sundae glass. And oftentimes it's overflowing with ice cream and whipped cream. So you're like stuffed from your supper club meal and somehow you find room to shove pounds of ice cream, boozy ice cream, into your system as well. So yeah, it's a big Wisconsin thing, particularly with ice cream.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Sorry, because when I saw the picture and then you were like, it's like a grasshopper, I was looking at it and I was like, it looks
Doesn't look
kind of
like
like a green, like white or egg white sour type cocktail. So I was like, did this guy make an absinthe egg white sour? So, all
That sounds
right.
good. I would
I
drink
mean,
that. That
I
sounds
wasn't
good.
opposed to it, but I was also like, I don't know what's going on here.
Right.
It's like a variation of a pisco sour.
Yeah. There you go.
Oh, and our friend Donald, who's in Canada, was saying that the green one looked like a Star Trek cocktail, and if you
Yeah. Ah. All right. We got it. We're going to be millionaires.
There's actually a show where I was thinking that where places should have drinks that they don't have. Like, there's so many drinks Disney World could have that they don't have.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I think I went with, I don't know why, but it jumped up. I saw the old cartoon intro to Tailspin, and I was like, oh, this is a rum drink all the way. How do you not sell the Tailspin? Where it's rum, but kind of like a hurricane, and
Yeah.
it lives up to the name Tailspin.
We'll have to do a Disney night here where we can put some of those into
I don't want you getting
drink form.
sued, though.
Oh, that's true. Yeah,
That's
good
true.
idea. Okay.
You got to
Thank
go like
for
a
that.
side name to whatever.
Yes. Thank you. We don't need any of that.
You'll have to call it like a Dosney night or something like that, or
Yes.
night, right? You know.
Yeah, there we go.
Oh, that's funny. Let me switch back here 1 second. I got one or two other ones here that you did that I thought were very interesting. First off, that's a lot of work, but I mean that's a cool drink to get.
Yes. So that's from another bar. Well, the Garnish.
Mm-hmm.
So the drink is a banana daiquiri, which normally we'd serve in a different glass, but in this case we wanted to use this outlandish garnish. So that's from a place called Lost Lake that I think recently closed. That was in Chicago, like a world-renowned tiki bar.
Mm-hmm.
And they had some kind of banana drink. Maybe it was a banana daiquiri, maybe something else. But they went kind of viral for having this banana dolphin garnish for it. And I wasn't going to serve it like that, but I showed it to my wife to see if she thought it was as funny as I did. And she's like, you have to serve it with that. I'm like, I'm not going to spend the time making that. So she's like, I'll do it. If you serve it with it, I'll make the banana dolphins. So she made them up, and we served them up that night, and people got a kick out of it. So yeah, it's a banana daiquiri with an overly ornate garnish.
Yeah, I just it was one that was so like over the top that I'm like, that's just fun.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Really,
That's a loving wife right there too.
I was like, I'm not gonna make it, but if you want to make it, I'll serve it. So
let's see. I got another. Like on this, like I said, the variety you'll give is like a monthly kind of cocktail change or change to what's going on. I think is great. And I do see you're working with a lot of different. Well, the one thing you guys are I saw you trying to. Oh, holy crap! Sorry, I hit a button and it totally took me away from everywhere I was supposed to be. That back. Did you were working with like trying to bring teachers and stuff in at night for like. I thought that was an awesome way to try to bring people into the community, and especially teachers, because everyone has a tough day from now and then, especially working with children, and especially when there's 20 of them that aren't yours.
right.
So you might need to stop for a drink. I really like some of the programs you guys are having with cocktails, trying to bring people in or open the place up to what you guys are doing. That's just a neat one. Could you go into that one a bit? I just don't want to hop too much, but I just thought it was a neat one.
So we had a bunch of different themes, or we try to keep it fresh, and part of that is that I'm just kind of ADD, so I just like throwing everything at people. So we've got our menus, which are released seasonally. So we opened with our spring menu, we've had a summer one, and just recently our fall menu has come out. We also have different kind of specials or discounts aimed at various groups or with different themes throughout each week. So Monday night, for example, is service industry night. So sometime soon here, I'm guessing we're going to see a lot of local bartenders, servers, and so on come through. because we do discounts for people in the service industry. Tuesdays we do our tropical Tuesdays. So tiki drinks are one of my like favorite things in the world. I like how they're like super delicious. Anybody can drink them. However, if you get really into the nitty gritty, there's like most of these drinks have like 12 ingredients. A lot of the times they're like combining 3 to 5 different rums in one drink to get a specific flavor profile. So if you're a nerd like me, getting into tiki drinks is just like beautiful. There's endless variations, and I can't think of a tiki drink that someone has not liked. Like they're just fun, they're delicious, they're fruity. So that's every Tuesday. Wednesdays we do Whiskey Wednesday. So we do all the whiskey drinks on our menu are 20% off, and also 20% off any neat or rocks pours. So that's even like any rare stuff we may get. We don't have tons, but like what do we got over here? We got the Weller 12 and the Eagle Rare and the guy with the horse on it. You'll know the name. Little horsey guy. Blanton's and so on. So come Wednesday and you get a good deal here. Thursdays is what we call professional development. That's the one that's aimed at teachers. That's what they call like they're either the days when the students aren't there, or if they have meetings after school, they call it professional development. So we wanted them to be able to use it as kind of like a code word. Like, oh yeah, we're going over to do a little professional development over there. So no one will know what they're talking about, but that means they're coming over to have some drinks. And that's another one where I got inspiration from my wife, who's an elementary music teacher, which I could not handle in the slightest, let alone 20 kids who aren't yours running around. But also giving them recorders is just like, not for me. Not for me personally.
Trying to get them all to get like 3 notes that are vaguely the same.
That sounds like punishment to me. So more power to the teachers. We try to offer them a night to come out. And then what else? We started a thing called a community cocktail. So every month we partner with a different local distillery, and we do a cocktail where we donate a portion of the proceeds to a local nonprofit. So our first one we did in September, and we partnered with Wollersheim Distillery. So we used, what was the drink there? It's escaping me at the moment. But we did a cocktail with, I believe it was their 2 Mile Bourbon, raising money for the Friends of Devil's Lake State Park, which is right in our backyard here. So we raised $1 for every cocktail that we sold, and that was matched by Wollersheim. We were able to donate $500 to Friends of Devil's Lake. And then this month we're partnering with Dancing Goat Distillery with Fred Swanson there and everybody else there. We're doing a drink featuring their limousine rye, kind of a autumnal thing with their limousine rye, a little ginger syrup, cherry bark vanilla bitters, and apple cider from Sky High Apple Orchard here in Baraboo. So it's a nice fall. It's built kind of like an old fashioned. Doesn't necessarily taste like one. And this month we're raising money for the Boys and Girls Club here in Baraboo. So we'll change that each month, try to find a different local distillery to partner with. So if you come one week, there's going to be some other different drinks each and every time you come, mostly because I can't focus very well. So.
That's okay. And you guys do have some classics that when I was there, I think it might have just been like the paper plane I got, and it was outstanding. Like, I think I texted people that day. I was like, I know it's just this normal one, but goddamn, it was awesome.
Nice. Yeah, we got our menu broken down in a section called House Favorites. So that's like kind of Wisconsin focused stuff. So old fashions in there, our House Bloody Marys in there. We got like a house Boilermaker thing that's just a pint of PDR and a shot of blackberry brandy on there. And we've got a drink from Bryant's in Milwaukee called the Banshee, which is one of their kind of ice creamy drinks that uses banana liqueur and creme de cacao and cream, and it's just fantastic. And then our middle section of our menu is always classics, whether they're like old school classics from way back in the day, pre-Prohibition, or something that's become more popular in the last couple of decades, like the paper plane. And then the seasonal section is mostly like originals or variations on other drinks with like a seasonal bent to them.
Yeah. And you guys do have some food there as well too. It's not just all drinks.
Yes.
I saw a giant pretzel. I know that is one. Sounds weird,
Yep.
but that's one of the things that turns a lot of people and my friends, because you need something to soak up everything that you're drinking, and a
Yep.
giant pretzel is outstanding.
Yep, we got
Um,
pretzels, we got pizzas, we got a little like meat and cheese charcuterie thing. We got like the spiced nut mix, so enough to kind of keep you from getting into too much trouble.
yeah, well, like I said, just tide you over from what's going on if you're having a drink.
Yep.
And I think Fred mentions is exactly
Hey,
right here.
hey, Fred.
You do have a bigger city feel to it in Baraboo, which is a smaller city. But if you don't know, Baraboo is just north of Devil's Lake and just south of Wisconsin Dells. So you're
Yep.
20 minutes from one, maybe 15 from one, and maybe 5 from the other.
Yep.
From
Yes.
Devil's Lake at best, you take one road north, and you're almost there if you take the right one.
Yep.
So it is a wonderful place in between, and if you're going on vacation, that is a great area to stop at. There are other things in the area, but I love Devil's Lake. I know you support the place with the yacht club and stuff that you do,
Yep.
and it's just a great area to stop at. There are other distilleries, like I said, Wollersheim, Henry's not far away. It's a great
Yep.
home base for kind of southwest Wisconsin. And if you're in the area, I think you absolutely should stop in and check this place out.
Yeah,
And if you're in,
we're really lucky to have, so Driftless Glen is 4 blocks away.
nope,
Wollersheim's let's say 12 miles south of us. J. Henry's not too far away. Dancing Goat's not too far away. We've got tons of distilleries, and then not to mention all the wineries in the area and breweries.
Yeah.
Like you throw a rock, you'll hit some alcohol producing business in this area. So it's a lucky place to be if you're into drinking.
but I like how you're exempt with the drinks, the like changing in every month. You are staying. You're doing a good job of using local products and trying to highlight them, at least for a little bit, and then working your way around to other distilleries, which is awesome because there's a lot of places that have at least one cool thing on the docket that you could play with, if not several.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So,
Yep.
no. Mitch, how you doing over there? How was the drink you made?
Fantastic. I've never thought of putting cherry anything in with whiskey. Possibly because I'm stupid, or maybe you're just brilliant. But I really liked it.
Awesome. I'm glad that's what we like to hear.
All right, now I'm gonna put up the other one we had here. I do not have the deer camp ready at the moment. Just because I didn't have the right bitters all with me, and I didn't have
Sure.
any vermouth earlier today when I went looking through. Well, I didn't have vermouth that wasn't ridiculously old and I didn't trust. I know that doesn't sound right, but there was a point where I was like, I don't know when I actually bought that was.
Right.
Yeah, I went out and bought new vermouth today.
There we go. It's vermouth.
For this.
But this one, with the deer camp, did you use Lacrosse's bourbon or whose bourbon did you use in this one?
This one's still the 2 Mile bourbon
Okay.
from Wollersheim. However, it'd work with any of the great local ones. It'd be great with the J. Henry. It'd be nice with the Driftless Glen. So this one's like a variation on, I mentioned I kind of nerd out on New Orleans cocktail culture.
Yeah.
And this is like a loose variation on a drink called the Vieux Carré, which is itself kind of like a loose variation on a Manhattan. So normally the spirit component, in this case where we have 1.5 ounces of bourbon, normally it's split between rye whiskey and cognac or some kind of brandy. In this
Okay.
case, I wanted to kind of simplify it a little bit. But that drink normally has 3/4 ounces of rye, 3/4 ounces of cognac, then also those 3/4 ounces of sweet vermouth. And normally the kind of liqueur type addition to it is 1/4 ounce or sometimes even less of Benedictine, which is
Really?
kind of an herbal liqueur.
Yeah.
And then the bitters. In this case, we wanted to keep it local, and I wanted it to be a little more fruit forward, so we used the new Wollersheim Blackberry Brandy. And what worked really well with that is actually, so the bitters that are in here are normal that you would see in a Vieux Carré, but the Peychaud's bitters especially have this kind of anisey type of note
Yep.
that really plays well with the Blackberry Brandy. So it's a dumbed down Wisconsin-centric variation on a Vieux Carré cocktail, which is big down in New Orleans.
Yeah, but once again, the Wollersheim Black, that was so potent, if you would, for a
Oh, sure.
for a blackberry brandy, but it wasn't syrupy.
Right.
Because there's a lot of brandies where it gets, it's almost a sugar, it's almost a sugar syrup thing rather than
Yes.
brandy to an extent, or at least the flavor you're getting from it, which is why I really like that. I'm like, oh, it is alcohol, but you're really getting the berry notes out of it compared
Yeah.
to other brandies. So
That stuff is ridiculously good. It's rich, it's fruit forward. It actually tastes like real fruit, not like whatever chemical compounds they use to simulate fruit. And you can actually taste the brandy too. So it's I love this stuff and use it as much as possible, or whether that be shots or in a cocktail.
there's nothing wrong with that on a cold winter night.
Right, exactly.
I'd almost
A not cold winter night. Thank you
Yeah,
very much.
whenever. A warm summer's day, a fall evening, whatever.
Judging me.
What are some of the things you have? Obviously, Halloween is coming up. Are you guys doing anything special for Halloween coming up with different drinks for that?
Yeah, trying to kind of solidify what we're gonna do, but there's a ton of I like going through. I've got dozens, or maybe even hundreds of old cocktail books, and I like kind of mining through to find obscure drinks. So I've got a number of spooky sounding cocktails that we'll likely do, including a number of absinthe drinks. So we'll probably have classic tiki drink. We'll probably serve a zombie. We'll probably serve one called Death in the Afternoon, which is an absinthe drink made famous by Ernest Hemingway.
Yep.
So it's literally just absinthe, like an ounce of absinthe in a champagne flute topped with sparkling wine. And there's a good saying, something along the lines of 2 of these and it'll be sure to wake up the dead or something like that. So there's a number of kind of ghoulish cocktail names that will have a special menu that night that we're looking forward to. We'll likely do something as we get closer to the holidays. We'll probably do a cocktail class on drinks you can use for entertaining, whether it's communal, like a big punch bowl thing, or show people how to do how you could batch a big bottle of Manhattans or something. So then you can make them in advance. You just pour them over ice and you're ready to go.
That's actually a great idea. Some people might think that a little counterintuitive, but teaching people how to host a party is not a bad thing. You know what I mean?
You don't want to be stuck behind making drinks for everybody if you're having a party at home. You'd rather enjoy the drinks with everybody else. So there's ways to do that where you can make it in advance and then everyone can serve themselves, or you can serve them, but you won't have to stir with ice or shake a drink or have a bunch of ingredients on hand necessarily. So.
You don't have to be the bartender all evening if you don't want to be. Some people want to be the bartender at your own house all evening, and other people want to sneak out and kind of trade off, and that at least allows you to trade off with anybody.
Yeah. See, I like making the drinks, and people are always like, "Do you want to go do something else?" I'm like, "No, this is my element. This is what I want to do." But I'm sure there are many others who'd rather be hanging out with your friends. So, and then also in December, we're hoping to. This is the first leak of this. This is a My Whiskey Den exclusive. We're hoping to do something along the lines of, if you've heard of Miracle, which is a Christmas themed pop up thing they do at a lot of cocktail bars.
Okay.
The places in Wisconsin I can think of there's Lucille in Madison by the Capitol. There's the Tin Widow in Milwaukee, where they'll decorate the bar over the top Christmassy. It looks like an elf threw up in there or something. And then they have a whole menu of Christmas themed drinks with fun names and so on and so forth. So it's very likely we're going to try to go that route. Sometime the week after Thanksgiving, we'll probably close for one day and just go nuts decorating the bar way over the top, not tastefully at all, as Christmassy as we possibly can. So coming up in December.
Go ahead, Mitch. Sorry.
That's awesome.
Well, it's it's one of those things with the Christmas stuff. Either you see it and it's you're kind of minimal, whatever, or it is. The next part is like so over the top. You're like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Damn.
That's what we're going for. Baraboo as a town. Well, for one thing, it looks like you're in a Hallmark movie. Just in general, the downtown of Baraboo is just like picturesque Norman Rockwell, and people just love Christmas around here. So I'm like, oh, we'll give them Christmas, all right. We're gonna go all in and see what we can do here. So yeah, that's a few things we got in the works here coming up.
No, that is excellent. And that's something that most people don't do enough of, or if they do, I'm gonna go a little bit. And I love the passion that you have for the cocktails that you're making. So I was gonna say, not everyone, when you're talking to people who are bartenders, really. Some people have 1 or 2 books at home, not 60 or so, and you're actually going through trying to find something unique, trying to make your own riff on something. You were saying, you're not really. Everyone's done that. Sorry, I thought that the cocktail industry is very rare that you see something that's like, wow, that is a completely new, amazing drink out of the realm. Yeah, it's like I didn't think of that riff on this, or you did this or that, and that's what made something exceptional. So I just need. Oh, hey Dave, good to see you in the chat. He snuck in here late. Well, he's one of your fans as well too.
Nice. Yeah, I always joke my wife reads like 6 to 8 books a month, and I joke that I'm practically illiterate, aside from cocktail books. I read cocktail books all the time, but otherwise, there's not a whole lot of reading for me.
You gotta find the thing you like. I'm very similar, where it's like, no, and all of a sudden this one thing, I'm like, well, leave me alone.
There you go.
I got some stuff to figure out here in this book, but
yeah.
We're getting here close to about 45 minutes, and it looks like you're still at the bar. I don't want to keep you too much longer on from what you got going on, but I just want to say, when we stopped in, I appreciate your hospitality. But I really love the idea behind the bar and how you guys are building it out and what you're bringing in. I think it's a stop that, like you said, when I was talking about places to stop for bourbon and whiskey, like everyone's got a bourbon trail or some version or different name for it when you're traveling around. We always say that's great, but it's your extras along the way that make it better. Where did you eat? What did you have? Where did you go afterwards? That's part of the day. This is a place that you should be adding into that day of trips. If you're going through Baraboo, stopping at Driftless Glen and other places, you should be stopping here for a drink.
We appreciate that.
It adds to the whole day that you're going on, and just layers it on that extra little bit further that most people weren't expecting. Because cocktails are fantastic.
Thank you very much.
Matt, who also enjoys Devil's Lake, was a little upset that you guys are so far away.
He's got to move closer.
Well, that's
what he's got to do.
He just bought a new house. Otherwise, I think it was very tempting as to where I think we both looked at. There was a moment I was like, well, there's this house not far from Devil's Lake, and it's here, and I'm like, I don't know if I can sell it, but maybe.
Sure. Yeah.
But some of them like, well, there's a house here, and it's like you get a compound on a little cul-de-sac or something, or 3-4 people, I'm like, that would be kind of cool.
Oh.
So,
nice.
But like I was saying, Matt, I really appreciate you being on and sharing your knowledge. Opening this bar in the first place, it's an excellent concept, and if you haven't been there, this is definitely a place you guys should be stopping out and adding to your place to like I said, to enhance your whiskey experience, or just cocktails if you're in the area. Because, like I said, it's close enough to Devil's Lake, and also if you're in Wisconsin Dells, it's just a skip down the road. It is not far away, especially the way that's laid out, because you could be at the north part of the Dells, and then by the time you get done, that's 10-15 minutes, and it's just another 5-10 to where you guys are at, and it is well worth the stop. So I just wanted to say thanks for coming on. I greatly appreciate it. And maybe as you're getting closer to Christmas, maybe maybe we might have to have you on again or stop out there to see this
Yeah.
enhanced Wiscocktail Lounge for
The elf vomit. I look forward to
Next
it.
level Christmas.
next level Christmas. I like that a lot.
Yeah, I'm definitely trying to get out there the next Distill America is my plan.
Oh,
Oh.
yeah, that'd be great.
That is actually another. Well, maybe we'll have to put together an extra long weekend trip for that. I'll maybe
Yeah,
have to take off early.
I don't know if Fred's still on, but I talked to him last week or so that we may try to be at the next Distill America. We used to have somebody out there making cocktails.
Yes.
We might try to be the cocktail people / have a booth. We got a bunch of like merch and stuff we do, so we might. Fingers crossed, we'll be there next spring, summer at Distill
That would
America
be
as well. So.
that would be excellent because that's something that adds on, and like my wife, that would be something that would fall excellently into her purview of wandering around to find it. She's like, okay, I found this, and she'll come grab you and be like, try this out, and I'll be going to more the spirit stuff instead of the cocktail things. But that's something that I don't want to say was missing, but it was very neat when they had it then in the past. I think Spirited Women or someone did it in the past, but I thought it was neat just because you got that extra little twist to it. And with the way you guys could do things or with things that are there, that would be I don't even want to think about it because that's.
I think it'd be a blast. So hopefully
it'd be a
we can make it
blast.
happen.
That would be really, really cool. That'd be a neat twist on it for everyone there. And Fred says, yeah, that's he just wants you to show.
All right, we'll see you there.
All right, I like that. So we won't schedule that for the same day. I'll have to that'll have to be
There we go.
That'll have to be in that for day or 2 days before or something like
Different
that.
day. Take a visit to Driftless. Come over here for drinks afterwards. It'll be a good time.
Exactly. All right, Matt.
Thanks for having me, guys.
No, I really appreciate it. Thanks for coming on and having some very interesting cocktails. And we do have cocktail shows from time to time. We may pull you back on again and see if you may want to do that and try a couple different people's stuff. So
I'm down whenever.
What you're making is fantastic. So
Awesome.
Remember, it's not the size of the den that matters, it's the love of whiskey. Cheers, everyone.
Cheers.